George W. Bush, the 43rd President of the United States. To some, he's a man of conviction, standing tall in the face of adversity. But to others, his presidency is shrouded in controversy, defined by questionable decisions and global unrest. Today, on Nexus, we delve deep into the legacy of George W. Bush and the controversies that have defined his time in power. Bush's journey to the White House wasn't without its own controversy. The 2000 election stands as one of the most disputed in American history. It came down to one state, Florida. After weeks of recounts, hanging chads, and legal battles, the U.S. Supreme Court intervened, ruling in Bush's favor. While Bush won the Electoral College, Al Gore had won the popular vote, raising questions about the legitimacy of Bush's victory. Critics argue that the election was stolen, a shadow that would follow him throughout his presidency. September 11, 2001, marked a defining moment in Bush's presidency. The attacks on American soil thrust him into the global spotlight. His response? The War on Terror. The invasion of Afghanistan was swift, aimed at dismantling the Taliban and capturing Osama bin Laden. In the wake of 9/11, Bush's approval ratings soared, but it wasn't long before the next chapter of his foreign policy would ignite further controversy. In 2003, Bush made a fateful decision to invade Iraq. Citing the presence of weapons of mass destruction and ties between Saddam Hussein and terrorism, Bush sought to justify the war. However, no WMDs were ever found. The rationale for the invasion quickly fell apart, and what followed was a prolonged occupation that cost thousands of lives and billions of dollars. Critics called it an unnecessary war, one based on faulty intelligence, and a quagmire that destabilized the entire region. Was it a mistake, or a calculated move in a larger geopolitical game? That's the question many still ask. Domestically, Bush faced severe backlash after Hurricane Katrina devastated New Orleans in 2005. The slow response from the federal government, and Bush's now infamous flyover of the disaster zone fueled criticism that his administration was out of touch. The humanitarian disaster highlighted issues of race and poverty in America, and Bush's approval ratings plummeted as people questioned the competence and priorities of his leadership. As Bush's second term came to an end, the United States was hit with another crisis, the Great Recession. The collapse of Lehman Brothers, the housing bubble burst, and the resulting financial meltdown left the global economy on the brink of disaster. Bush's handling of the economic crisis, particularly the controversial bailout of major financial institutions, was seen by many as too little, too late. It was a dramatic end to a presidency already marred by war and natural disaster. Since leaving office, George W. Bush has sought to rehabilitate his image. Through charitable work, public speaking, and even painting, Bush has distanced himself from the controversies of his presidency. But the debates over his legacy continue. Was he a strong leader thrust into unprecedented circumstances? Or did his decisions exacerbate global instability and domestic inequality? The question of George W. Bush's legacy remains one of the most debated topics in modern political history. George W. Bush's presidency was one of the most turbulent in recent memory. From the War on Terror to the Great Recession, his time in office was marked by controversy and division. But, as with all historical figures, time may yet shift how we remember him. Was he a misunderstood leader, or a man whose decisions altered the world for the worse? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Nexus for more deep dives into the most fascinating stories from history.